Who is the weirdest club in England? Well, one that doesn't even play there and whose town was once accidentally at war with Russia is probably a good contender. Situated just 3 miles away from the Scottish border, Berwick-upon-Tweed has always had a bit of an identity crisis. Historically, the town of 12,000 people was often at the centre of wars between England and Scotland, with it having changed hands a whopping 14 times. All that swapping meant that in official declarations of war against Britain, it stated you would be at war with England, Scotland and Berwick-upon-Tweed. And in 1853, Britain declared war on Russia and included Berwick in the document. However, in the peace treaty 3 years later, it didn't mention Berwick, meaning that the town was technically still at war with Russia. That was until over a century later in 1961 when the Soviet Union sent a representative to Berwick to agree a peace with the town's mayor. So yeah, it's a pretty weird town, and their team, Berwick Rangers, are just as weird. Because until 2019, Berwick Rangers were the only professional club located outside of Scotland to play in the Scottish leagues. But unlike clubs such as Gretna and Annan, who were Scottish but briefly played in England for convenience, Berwick's Scottish football heritage goes very far back. Formed in 1884, Berwick joined the Scottish FA in 1905 and then were admitted to the Scottish third tier in 1951. And whilst fairly irrelevant in the league, Berwick were a force in the cup. In 1954, they reached the Scottish Cup quarter-finals and then reached the semi-finals a decade later. Then in 1967, at home to Rangers in front of 13,000 fans, more than the town's population, Berwick stunned the cup holders, beating them 1-0 in the first round. But sadly, that was the top of the mountain for England's weirdest team. After a brief period in the second division, in 1988, the club narrowly avoided bankruptcy and were locked out of their home ground, and then nearly went bust again in 1994. In the 2000s, they relived their cup brilliance, taking Rangers to a replay. But unfortunately, their steady slip down the leagues continued, going down to the 4th tier in 2005 and then the 5th tier in 2019. And whilst their best years are far behind them now, they will always be England's weirdest team.